Welcome to Trois-Rivières, Quebec for the final Canadian race of 2018, Le 62 Argyle, the last road course race of the season as well, and we already have a lot to hop onto. Beginning with breaking news over this last week as another PCC Cup Series team will be joining the Challenge Series ranks. Red Star Racing, the Chinese-American team that are the currently defending champions of the Cup Series, have announced that they will buy out a controlling stake of Sample Sports, the single-car operation started by Ronnie Samples in 2006 that fields the number 7 car, and which has been a constant presence in the field since 2006. We don't have all the details about the extent of this buyout or how the day-to-day operations will be affected starting in 2019, but what we can confirm is that the team will expand to 2 full-time cars and Samples will scale back to a part-time schedule. As more information filters out, we are going to be ready to share with you. Overall, this caught a lot of the garage by surprise. Samples has always been very respected by how they built this team from zero into one of the most well-known operations of the North American Auto Club. Of course, not in the same level of Luke Star Motorsports, of an Ashcroft Family Racing, of an S2, but one of the best-known teams of the series. And as such, I think a lot of people are not, well, let's say they are uneasy with the news that they're getting bought out by an external team, just like Triumph Motorsports is getting bought out by Johnson Racing, both teams forming developmental programs in the North American Auto Club. So it's a situation where everyone is on their toes trying to see what Red Star and Johnson can bring into the table. And unfortunately, in this case, only time will tell how these partnerships are gonna go. As I mentioned before, this is the final Canadian event and the final road course race of the season, and despite the fact that it's held on the shortest track, on the shortest road course that we go as a series, it is still one of the hardest events to do well on. Jack Ashcroft once called racing in Trois-Rivières trying to maneuver an elephant into a container, and his little brother Tom, the more articulate brother, just called it a street course crapshoot. So if it's a track that made the Ashcroft brothers wins, you know that this is a track that you cannot take lightly at all. At the same time, the final news item that we have right now between the headlines is that given we're very late into the season, obviously race 31 of 36 out of 34 weekends, the field of entries for the Try Hard 500 continues to expand, and the way things are going, we might be very well past the 100 entries, meaning the potential title contenders are going to have to hustle and jostle a lot to qualify for this race, especially in the qualifying races. Not necessarily just qualified, title contenders are going to be mathematically locked. However, the Marlisle duels are points events this season, so just handing out bonus points for the duel winners is not going to suffice. You're going to have to apply yourself and do your best to get as many points as you can from the duel. So we're bound to see a very interesting qualifying process as many teams are continuing to stake their claims towards the North American Auto Club's premier event. Now, let's talk about this race. Starting on the front row are 2 men looking to cut their deficits in the championship. Luke Pellerin takes the pole, Thomas Tucker takes second, and if you have a keen eye, you may notice right there that the rest of the top 5 in the championship, so Becky Pellerin and the Faulkners, are starting inside the top 8, but they failed to qualify into the top 5, meaning the 88 and the 9 start the race with a 20 and 16 point headway against the rest of the top 5. While Stan Gustafson, Joey Anderson, and Lucy Barton close out the top 5 starting positions of the race. In a race where we had no DNQs, exactly 40 cars were entered for 40 starting positions. This is going to be a 60-lap event, the shortest road course event of the year, and as you may see, it's only 150 kilometers, well under 100 miles. Despite that, fuel strategy and tire strategy will still come into play as you can only make it at most 40 laps in a tank of fuel, so we might see a few attempts at under or overcutting depending on how the chips fall and how things happen throughout your journey in this race. And as we reinforce the point we raised a little bit ago, This is the shortest road course we go to, barely a few yards shorter than Lime Rock Park. Both are 1.5 mile, but Trois-Rivières shorter. But it has one of the longest straights in this series, which concludes with one of the hardest braking points we face across the season. And as you may notice, the elevation changes don't look really large because we get a little steep drop down the Port du Plessis, but we make it uphill very quickly into the longest straight, that is the Boulevard du Carmel. A very interesting track, one of the most fun tracks to watch in the North American Auto Club. And weather-wise, it is cloudy, it is overcast, and a little below 67 degrees. However, we have no threat or chance of rain. So differently than last year, there is no risk at all of us seeing this race end before its scheduled distance. We will see this one go from green to checkered. Let's go trackside. The pace car's off the track, leaving the field in the hands of Luke Pellerin. To his left side is Thomas Tucker. The green flag is out and we are on here in Trois-Rivières. As we go into turn number 1, Stan Gustafsson tries to have a look, not enough. Thomas Tucker trying to make a move, he does not get to do anything. Pellerin already clears the number 9 as they come down to the Port du Plessis. And you see how Pellerin has the number 9 clear of the way. And as they go at the Boulevard du Carmel, the top 5 is Pellerin, Tucker, Gustafsson, Anderson, and Rebecca Pellerin. Ryan Faulkner, they're battling with Demi Barton and Lucy Barton. Both Bartons having a very solid start, staying side by side, trying to double team the number 89. Charlie Faulkner right there lost the positions early. As you see there in the back of the field, the battle for position. Kendra Brittany misses the breaking point, bumps the number 52 of Hibiki Murata as Lily Briscoe makes a move on the 96 of Brandon Masner. And by the time we get to lap number 2, Pellerin continues to open and embiggen his lead over the number 9 of Thomas Tucker. And as we head into the Port du Plessis, as we head off the Port du Plessis to the Boulevard du Carmel into turn number 5, he continues to lead. Ryan Faulkner running in 6th place. He's been needing to get a good result. He's been needing to gain a few points to find himself truly in the battle. He fought for the win last time around in Nashville with Rebecca Pellerin. Joyce Clements completely loses it on the breaking point at turn number 5 at the end of the Carmel, and that's gonna throw her to the back of the field, and that's gonna give her quite a bit of damage. So what's gonna happen is she's gonna pit. She's gonna get a little bit of that side panel of the car pulled out so that the tires can be okay. And when she comes out, she's already gonna have lost a lap. She would have fallen a lap down, and Luke Pellerin will be actually well, she didn't actually lose a lap, but she's on the edge of losing a lap because Luke Pellerin catches her right as she came out of the pits. And as you ride with the number 88 of Pellerin, whoa, he's being very aggressive in regards to his braking points. He almost bumps the 93 out of the way, but they get it all sorted out, and the 88 has put the first car in this 60-lap race a lap down. Joyce Clements now is 1 lap down in between Pellerin and Thomas Tucker. And you see there Tammy Barton with problems for the number 97, the leader of the Rookie Challenge, the unimpeachable leader of the Rookie Challenge, has a tire going down slow on the circuit, and she gets passed by everyone. The left rear tire there, the 18 of Mac Henley has an engine failure. The 77 of Ruby Carson has a fuel leak. And both of these cars, the 77 and the 18, are gonna end up bowing out of the race really early, 5 laps in, which is gonna put the number 5 of Alan Lucier up in 16th place. Lucier is a driver in the All-Star Canadian division. He did not do very well in the Canadian Division's race of just a couple of hours, which was a very short race, actually only 20 laps for a late model event, so fair distance, a third of what we have in the Challenge Series. But so far, you see how Thomas Tucker continues running well. Craig McLean's gonna run wide when they enter the Forge, and that is a lot of damage in the number 30, and he will be done for the afternoon as you see him slow down in the back a little bit further ahead. Contact. Corbin Dempsey gets into the back of the 93. Mega McDonald had to slide to avoid hitting the 93. As you see there, the 93 went wide. The 81 just found himself right there. Worst time, worst place possible, and sent the 93 straight into the wall. The 43 almost gets involved as well, but Megan McDonald and Lee Schmidt do not get involved. They miss hitting the 93 and the 81 barely, but they do miss it, which is the more important factor. No damage. They all keep going. Aside from Corbin Dempsey. Corbin Dempsey does have quite a bit of damage. As you watch there, Craig McLean doing his walk of shame back to the pits. A very unfortunate result for the Zach Tech number 30. That crew was actually hoping to get a good result today so that they could be further into the fight for the provisional, but as we reach 1/5 of the way through lap number 10 of 60, Pellerin leads Tucker and Gustafsson. Anderson still in fourth, Pellerin catching him in fifth. Then you have Ryan Faulkner, Lucy Martin, Charlie Faulkner, and then closing the top 10 you got Ashley Richardson and Riley McKee, the Prince of Trois-Rivières, doing a very popular top 10 result. This track hasn't been very kind to him, so him running in the top 10 is actually a pretty good result so far. While Corbin Dempsey, as you see off the pits, he already is running in the modified. As you watch further in the back, battle for 29th place, Kevin Daly sends So Pritchett straight into the wall. A lot of damage. And the number 8, the 63 is buried in the tires. What the hell? The 63 Chris Endicott buried into the tires. He's going to reverse to get back on track. Timmy Barton hits the 63. A lot of damage on the 63. A lot of damage on the 97. Let's see what happened there. And oh! As they break to enter the Duplessis, the 63 just got unceremoniously dumped by Brett Finley, and as Timmy Martin was trying to thread the needle there and pass the number 8 on a safer line, the 63 was reversing back, and through no fault of his own, Timmy Martin was right there, and a lot of damage on the 97 as we watch lap number 12 battle for the 4th position as they come down to turn number 6. It is Joey Anderson versus Rebecca Pellerin. And they're gonna come down to turn number 7. There's still nose to tail. And the troubles that have befallen these drivers actually have helped the number 33 and the number 2, Kate Lurchler and Kristen Young, to gain a couple of spots and be around the vicinity of the top 20, which is a very good result for them. As you see there, Thomas Tucker is gonna lap the number 8 as the number 8 comes off the pits. They were able to repair that car, but he loses 2 laps, so there goes his chance of doing anything today. So he's going to be running around, roaming around, trying to get points, mostly for the Owners' Championship, but it's a dud. It's already a lost cause. But as the 9 laps, the 8, the 95 keeps him on the visual, keeps him on the chase. As we watch now, Lucy Barton also came off the pits to get her damage fixed, and Corbin Dempsey is chasing her down, while Scott Overton running in 27th place. The winner at Quincy not having a very good few weeks after that. Mainly, right now, he's just coasting that car. Very poor qualifying effort. Another driver that had a poor qualifying effort was his teammate, Lily Briscoe. However, Briscoe does have an excuse, which is she's driving with a broken ankle. She broke the ankle in a snowboarding accident after she failed to qualify for Pocono. She went to Canada to do snowboarding, and then she broke her ankle. She's being able to drive. She was cleared to drive, but she cannot strain her leg too much. So she's been walking around in crutches this whole weekend, but she's doing very well inside the top 20 after starting in 24th. As you watch right ahead of them, Ronnie Samples, a lot of eyes were on the number 7 this weekend after the announcement that Red Star Racing is acquiring this team as they are in a battle with the 52 and the 23 battle for the 15th position. A little bump, trying to get Big Murata moved, not able to. Lily Briscoe tried to capitalize, was unable to as well, but so a lot of eyes were on Ronnie Samples, and now you got Warren Majeski running in 23rd place, Ethan Collins chasing him down, and this is what happens when you get a bump. When you get a bump and it's a healthy bump like that, there goes the camera. The camera is embedded right there in the bumper, so whenever there's a contact, there goes the camera. If the contact's really bad, and this one was terrible, Ethan. Chill, son. Look, Pellerin continues to lead the way. He has lapped the number 7, chasing down the 66 of Patricia Stage. No, that's the 60 of Kendra Hendrick. He already lapped the 66 of Patricia Stage. And as you see there, Lucy Barton and Corbin Dempsey are working their way forward, passing some of the lap cars, but Barton's clearly slower than Corbin Dempsey. Dempsey has been making mincemeat of some of these lower cars, while Thomas Tucker is seeking to capitalize, gaining a couple of seconds on Luke Pellerin during this more or less this lap car management race, which is a pattern that we see on short tracks. And whoa, contact there! Brendan Masner into the back of Virgil Hargrove. Kristen Young gets into the back of Brendan Masner. And Masner sent sideways a lot of damage in the 96. He completely blew the breaking point at the end of the Boulevard de Carmel. Let's see what happened there. That was questionable. And as he goes wide, he got tagged by the 33. And the officials are going to take a look at that because that was very awkward between the 96 and the 33. But in the meantime, as we approach 1/3 of the way through, Lucy Martin currently running in 7th place, chasing down the 89 of Ryan Faulkner, hanging on very solidly in that position, but suffering an attack from the 85 of Charlie Faulkner. While Corbin Dempsey, as I mentioned, he's making mincemeat of some of those lower cars, as you see him go through the outside of the 200 of Allison Smith. It's the first time Allison Smith has driven in Trois-Rivières. Corbin Dempsey has been in the series since 2013. So, yeah, that's like what, his 5th time here in Trois-Rivières? Not surprised he's doing that well. But he's now chasing down the 53 of Ami Tachibana, the second car for the Kane Hughes team. And the reason is because look who's approaching him very menacingly. The 88 slowly catching. So Corbin Dempsey wants to put as many cars as he can between him and the 88, because if he falls a lap down, then he's going to need a caution. And if we didn't have a caution in the first 20 laps, it starts... Whoa! Thomas Tucker into the back of the 66 while battling with the 95. A very questionable move. While Kevin Daly gives a bump to Scott Overton, he tries to tell scoot over, son, scoot over, but Overton is not gonna heed his warning. They are battling for the 26th position, but Thomas Tucker taking no prisoners at all. The 66 was holding him up. He just stopped the 66 to not lose the 2nd position. And as you see there, now the 66 is under attack from the 03 and the 27. Becky Pellerin to the inside, using the 66 as a pick to take the 4th position, and Becky Pellerin is now in 4th place. Joey Anderson falls back to 5th, and Pellerin now trying to do a double whammy and lap the 66, and she's gonna make it work as they come to turn number 6 into Rue Papineau and turn number 7. While Joyce Clements right there still with Chris Endicott, she tagged the tire barrier, slides into the 63. And they make contact in this battle for, I believe, the 36th position, 37th. A little further ahead, Hibiki Murata in 14th place misses the braking point, drills the rear end of the 99. A lot of damage in the front end of the 52, completely blew the braking point. Hibiki Murata's not a driver we're used to see doing that. And you see how the front end's all kicked up, the radiator's all damaged. And it looks bad enough that I think she's gonna have to retire from the race. That's a bad overshot. And you see her slowing down, and I'm not surprised. Hibiki Murata done for the day, and you see there, Alain Lucier making the move on Boyd Abbott for the 14th spot now. As we look ahead, past 1/3 of the way through, Luke Pellerin there, about to lap the 83 of Kevin Daly and the 62 of Scott Overton, which means, yes, he is up to 28th and 27th place. Actually, no, 27th and 26th place. Now that they pass Hibiki Murata, they're 25th and 26th. You see there, Lucy Martin past the 89 of Ryan Faulkner for the 6th position. And she's, problems for the 98. The right rear tire, both Barntons with tire punctures in this race. And I'm starting to wonder, what have Nelson Racing done in the setup of those cars that two of their 4 drivers in this race had tire failures, and one of them blew the corner so badly he's on the modified. And I'm not surprised if Hibiki Murata out of the race, no need to take any action. Now I'm starting to wonder, because this will put Ryan Faulkner in 6th place, Charlie Faulkner in 7th, Ashley Rickardson right there, as you see an adventure line forming up with the 66, 89, 85, 58, 22. And a little further behind the adventure line, you see the 43 Alicia and the 34 of Megan McDonald running 10th and 11th. And I'm starting to question, what has Nelson Racing done to the setup of that car? Because Brendan Masner, he lost grip very easily when he ended up hitting the 28. And the 97 and 98 ended up losing tires, both rear end tires. Dave Martin lost the left, Lucy Martin lost the right. So what's going on with Nelson Racing? As you watch there, Becky Pellerin defend against the 03 with the lap cars. You see there, Caitlin Richler running in 20th place, Vernon Hargrove 21st, and then Corbin Nipsey up to 22nd, catching all of those lap cars. You see how the 88 is right in the middle of that brawl, with the 9 a bit further behind, about to lap the 62, the 95 right there. Then it's a long gap until the 27 of Becky Pellerin, the 03 of Joey Anderson appear, and then there's a few more lap cars, so we're not even gonna get to see 6th place appear on the screen, because Becky Pellerin dive bombs on the number 8, almost gets together with him, and she gets to put a couple of lap cars, the 8 and the 53, between her and Joey Anderson, which is very good for her. Keep as many lap cars in between you and Anderson. Do not bother with the battle, because you need to catch this man. You need to catch the 95. Sten Gustafsson having a very solid beginning of a run. His best result this season was a 2nd place in Oswego, which we credited to the fact that he is a rally driver as he starts to chase down the 9 of Thomas Tucker. But here's the thing, after he stopped rallying as his primary occupation, then he went to touring cars, which means he's a very good dirt guy, and he's an even better road guy. He has 1 win in the series that he won in Watkins Glen as a road ringer, which is his main function in Nelson Racing. He has a very big friendship with Michael Nelson. As you see there, Corbin Dempsey running in 21st place. He has a very long time friendship with Michael Nelson, which means he's basically in that team out of friendship. And Lucy Martin there in 20th place ahead of Corbin Dempsey sends Brett Philly to the shadow realm. Girl, what was that? Did you need to do that? Did you need to do that? Completely blows the corner, sends the 15 to the shadow realm, sends him to meet his maker, and that's obvious. As you follow Luke Pellerin and Kevin Daly trying to go past Peter Johnson right there. And Peter Johnson, then he has Ethan Collins, and he has the number 1 Awara Majeski right ahead of him. So not a lot of positions have changed. Essentially, it's been very hard to pass, of course, as with all street courses. Even though Trois-Rivières a little bit on the wider end for road courses, it still has a very narrow racing line, which means passing can be a little bit difficult. As you see there, whoa. Miss Barton, what are you doing? What are you doing? Let's ride with Kristen Young, and oh my God, that is blatant. That is a blatant move by the driver of the 98. We're gonna watch again, and okay, I get that the 26 faded a little bit into the racing line, but there was no need at all of dumping her or sending her straight into the tire barrier. You see the amount of damage she has on the 26 right there. She tries to coast around, trying to shift the line, trying to not bother the number 9. The number 9 approaching, she was gonna shift her line. She had to give up, and you see there how the pack formed, and now look better, and then a 3 wide on the road course with Vernon Hargrove and Peter Johnson, and that opens the opportunity for Thomas Tucker to be right there, right in the hunt, and now he's very close to the number 88, and that I am not surprised. However, and this is an important factor, Lucy can serve that penalty at any time. Oh, Brendan Masner into the back of the 58. Lost the breaking point again. I don't know what is the setup that Nelson Racing is doing in that team, but it clearly is having some issues, some teething issues. But you know who's actually doing well in that team? Sten Gustafsson kept the car clean, just chasing down the number 9, and he's now all over the back of the number 9 as they lap the 69 of Peter Johnson. A little bit back behind, already going through turn number 5, is the 27 of Becky Pellerin. Becky Pellerin has lapped the 62 of Scott Overton, and she's starting to, she's going to try to catch the 95, but she's going to have quite a few lap cars to deal with. And as we are slowly but surely approaching the halfway point of this race, we are opening lap 29 right now as Pellerin going to lap the number 1 of Majeski. You see how Thomas Tucker right there in second Stengelson right there in third, and they are starting to form a little train again, a little adventure line again, and this time, this one would be an adventure line for the lead, rounding out the poor Duplessis, turn 3, and that elbow into turn number 4. Riley McKee running in 9th place, trying to chase now Ashley Richardson. Joyce. Oh boy, the officials are not gonna like that. They don't like when lap cars and lead lap cars interact badly like that. And even then, it was a simple spin, but that is gonna ensure that Riley McKee will not be able to battle for the 8th position with Ashley Richardson. Is gonna lose a lot of time. As you see the 9 lapping, the number 1 is gonna have a little bit of empty track to try to catch Luke Pellerin. As you see there, clean track for the number 9, and now the 95 is gonna make the move, and they're gonna try to do their best to be on the 88 as soon as they can, but it's gonna take a little while, even if they are indeed faster than Pellerin. Pellerin has been doing a very good amount of tire management. And as you see there at the end of that group of lap cars, see there, the 1, the 16, the 69, and the 66 is the 27, and she has 4 cars to deal with, which is going to be very difficult to manage. And if it is as difficult to manage as it is, it means she's not going to be able to catch them, at least not right now, as we are approaching what would be the pit window, while Caitlin Richler, using the chaos in her favor, finds herself in 20th place. But you see there, 88 catching. So we're about to have only 19 cars on the lead lap. Tucker and Gustafson nose to tail, fighting between each other as much as they are fighting to catch the 88. Joyce! What the? Come on! What did he even do to you? Who got into him was you. He just got wiped out and you're trying to finish the job. What the hell is that? Come on! And complete blow off the breaking point, but McKee's still running in 9th place. Not a lot of damage on that car. He's just gonna try to build his own as the 95. Dive bomb. Look at that. Battle for second place ensues between the 95 and the 9 as they are coming around down Rue du Cologne into turn number 6, side by side. 95 has the preferred line, trying to make the move work, but the 9 has the nose ahead. They're gonna come down Rue Papineau to turn number 7, still side by side. 3 turns side by side. They almost make contact as they're gonna come into the chicane. And there we go, turn numbers 8 and 9. And Gustafson has the line and he takes second place, but he's still not cleared. Tucker side by side still as they come down the avenue into the stadium corner. Still there, but Gustafson finally clears the number 9 past the halfway point of this race. Lap number 32 just gets open and Stan Gustafson passes for second place. Says problems for the number 8 right there. Right rear blowout for the number 8, and he makes it to the pits. That's already going to be his scheduled pit stop. Kendra Brittany drills the rear end of the 62. A lot of damage in the front end, and if she wasn't out because of that dump by Lucy Martin, she's certainly done for the afternoon. Now look at the state of that car. Look at the state of the rear end of Scott Overton. He got bumped by everybody today. Corbin MC up to 17th place. He's using the fact that he pitted earlier to switch tires on that pit stop to use the newer tires to his advantage. Try to gain as many positions as he can before he does have to pit again for fuel, because he crashed early enough that he was able to change tires, but he wasn't able to put in fuel. Well, not any fuel that would make a difference. He would still have to pit. But as you see right there, Brett Finley battling with him and Ronnie Samples. Samples doing fairly well right there. Samples is able to defend the 15th position, and Corbin Nivs is going to be able to take 16th from Finley. So a very clean move by the driver of the 81, as Vernon Hargrove there battling with Brenda Massner, spins off the rear end of the 85, and thankfully the 85 doesn't get spun out. As we are closing lap number 33, about to open lap 34, Thomas Tucker is the first taker in this pit cycle. He is in, and we're going to see what happens, because a little bit further behind, battle for 9th position is between Riley McKee and Lucy Martin as they come to lap the 200 and the 93 200 into the pits. Lucy Martin into the back of the 22. into the back of the 22, and that is a lot of damage in the Prix de Trois-Rivières. A lot of damage for the local hero, the hometown kid. He's gonna have to coast that car. And Lucy Barton, what the hell are you thinking? Thank you. Thank you. Finally. 15-second time penalty, but she probably has to be called to the hauler as the leader spit, the 88, the 95 pit, the 27 comes in about the lap, the 99. 03 is also in, but one car that isn't in, and it's important to pay attention why he isn't in, is Charlie Faulkner. He stays out one extra lap, and that is why he's gonna get the lead one lap. That's 5 bonus points into his championship bank accounts, and he is hanging on. This is a fight point by point for the championship, so he needs to make these moves because only 22 points behind Becky Pellerin, and every point matters as Gustafsson and Pellerin come out of the pits together, and they're beating and banging off a pit exit. They almost wipe each other out. Pellerin's gonna have the inside line. Watch it as they come to lap the 83, the 62, and look, Pellerin's gonna dive bomb on the 83 to hold the lead of the race, but Stengel's the prospective lead of the race because, again, look at that. Lucy Barton's gonna stay out as well, and now she's gonna stay out even further because of her pit stop for tires, so she's off cycle. She's gonna stay out until about lap 40, lap 44, depending on how things go, 44, 45, and this will hold Luke Pellerin to second place, and we're gonna have a little run with Lucy Barton at the helm of the field, which certainly will not be controversial at all after she decided that she was falling down like Michael Douglas and decided that she needed to eliminate people. In the meantime, Corbin Dempsey also on the off cycles up to 8th place, but he is much further behind, about to be lapped whenever he pits because he's so far behind. However, Gustafsson about to use the 69, who is being lapped as a pick to take second place as they come into turn number 7, and Stan Gustafsson takes the prospective lead, and Luke Pellerin stuck behind the 69, and the 69 peels off the pit, and the 69 couldn't do anything. He was just on the worst place possible. Gustafsson used him as a pick, and that's a textbook pass. It's a Nelson Racing 1-2 at least for now. As Lucy Barton, don't dump Holland, don't dump Lucier, come on, please, and at least she doesn't. So now she's under attack from the 95. 95 has newer tires catching her very quickly, but again, street course, narrow racing line. Lucy Barton can defend with worse tires, which is something that we don't tend to see on short tracks or speedways. It is, or other road courses. Because it's a narrow racing line, it means you can defend even if you have very bad tires or a very bad handling car, a nil handling car. Thomas Tucker has a little bit of clean track after lapping the 83, and he now has a little headway to work his way to catch the 88. Becky Pellerin is going to have to lap the 83, but when she does, she's also going to have a clean track to try to catch the 9 for third place, for fourth place right now, which would be 6th place, meaning 6th place is Joey Anderson, but when Lucy Barton pits, he's going to be inside the top 5, which is a very good result for the winner, Lime Rock. But I do think he probably wanted to win this one. He probably has been working very hard to win on road courses, but he hasn't been able to. As Lee Schmidt into the back of the 43, Ashley Richardson tags the 43, and that is unceremonious. And that was a big, messy move. Corbin Dempsey with older tires. 43, Lee Schmidt blew the corner, demolished his front end, and then got demolished by Ashley Richardson. And the officials are probably going to take a look at that because that was a very weird sequence of moves. A very big Alfred Einstein move by everyone right there. They're going to need an investigation as Lily Briscoe has worked her way up to 12th place. Very unassuming performance, not doing anything other than hitting her marks. She talked about the problem of hitting her marks. As you see there, the 200 coasting done for the day with an engine failure. But Lily Briscoe said, it is very hard to hit your marks when you don't have a full range of movement in your ankle as you wish. So she was taking the utmost care to not bury into the tires or bury it into someone's behind. As you see, who is on someone else's behind is Lucy Martin lapping the 96. The 96 is going to stay out of the way, being a very good, very nice, very calm, very calculative teammate, very... You know what I'm talking about. He's making what he's supposed to do as a teammate. Thomas Tucker chasing down. He has finally caught the 95 and the 88 because of the amount of lap car. So the 96 holds up the 95 just a little bit, not intentionally. And he gives space. He gives space to the 95. The 88 sees the gap, but look at that. He's holding 2 lives at the same time. That's incredible. That's incredible as they come down to turn number 6. That is enough time, enough clearance for Sten Gustafsson to hold second position, at least for now, and Becky Pellerin to catch the number 9. And now we got an adventure line again from 2nd to 5th place. Corbin Dempsey bites the bullet, pits on lap number 39. That's his final stop of the race. The leaders have opened lap 40. He is going to fall a lap down whenever he comes out, which is unfortunate, but he has to do it. He had to pit. But a very good performance on newer tires. He may be able to gain a few positions and maybe finish as like the first car 1 lap down, depending on how long we go on the green flag run. As you see there, Joyce Stumman comes out of the pits, makes contact with the 16 of Ethan Collins, and now she goes wide into the wall at the street leading to the Port du Plessis, and there is no surprise that we get a caution. We're gonna ride together with Ethan Collins. He tagged the 93 as he dove too hard at turn number 1, completely blew the breaking point of that, but the 93 went into the tires on her own, and that is either. I don't think we're gonna get any conclusion like negative to Ethan Collins in that. I don't. And this, yep. And now here's the thing. Lucy Martin hasn't served her stop and go yet, and she hasn't served the 15-second penalty, because that one you can get it added at the end of the race, or you can serve it in the pits. And because we are under caution and she has to pit anyway, this is what we call street smarts, okay? This is what we call being smart. Not intelligent, smart. They're gonna use the pit stop to serve the penalty. They're gonna serve the 15 seconds. She's gonna restart at the back of the field, but she's not gonna lose a lap. She's not gonna lose track position because she's gonna restart with everybody. And now you look at there. No hands touching the car. Nobody can touch the car until they complete 15 seconds. There's an official right there with a hand up. When he drops the hand, they're going to be able to work on the car. And 3, 2, 1. Hand dropped, and they start working on the 98. She serves the time penalty, and she only has to serve the stop and go, which she can serve 1 lap into the restart. But leading the field to the green is Sten Gustafsson now that the cycle has been, well, fixed, more or less. So now nobody else has to pit. 95, 88, 9, all eye to eye with 16 laps to go. Green flag is in the air, and we are back in action here in Trois-Rivières. And Gustafsson already has a very good start, a very solid jump. He clears the 88 while the 9 is on the attack. The 27 right there as well as they come down to Port du Plessis. And Gustafsson hanging on. Joey Anderson and Charlie Faulkner battling for the 5th position right there. And Faulkner's going to pass him. Faulkner's going to pass him in the back of the field. The 66 of Patricia Stagg spins around as the 98 gets held up. She's already going to have to serve that stop and go. And she ends up losing even more time to the rest of the field. That's going to be a little bit of a bother for Lucy Martin. But as you see, watching a little bit further ahead, Lily Briscoe making a move for 10th place on Mega MacDonald. Actually, 9th place on Mega MacDonald, side by side. Coming up on the Boulevard du Carmel, they are very evenly matched as they break on that hard breaking point on turn number 5, and Lily Briscoe's gonna take the 10th position. Brett Philly tagged by Corbin Dempsey. They were in a near 3 wide right there. Someone had to give, and it was the 15 that had to give. And Tammy Martin tags the number 2 of Caitlin Richard into the 22 of Riley McKee. This is, oh my lord, Riley McKee is getting beaten up today. He is getting beaten the hell up today. Scott Overton goes wide, slows down, contact with the 99 of Boyd Abbott right there as he tries to make the move on the 16 of Kendra Hendrick. And as you see right there, multiple drivers jump the restart. So Kevin Daly jumped the restart. Timmy Barton has damage. Warren Majeski jumped the restart. You see there Vernon Hargrove and Ala Lucier also pit. You see, oh, contact right there. 16, 60, and 8 get together at the entrance of pit road. As you watch there, the inside, the 66 Gove, the E16 was in between both, and that's trouble. That's something the officials are gonna take a look at. I don't think anything's gonna come up from it, but a very weird move. As Ashley Richardson battling with Ryan Faulkner, they make contact there on the exit of turn number 5, but Ashley Richardson's gonna take the 6th position from the 89. Actually, no, she's gonna hold the 7th position. 6th position right there is Joey Anderson. He fell 4th behind Charlie Faulkner. Corbin Dempsey trying to chase down Mega McDonald. He is now the highest car a lap down, so if anything happens, he is in a very good position to still finish this race on the lead lap, but now he depends on a caution. As we come out of Port Duplessis, you see how the field is more or less evenly matched. Joey Ensign right there confirming his 6th, Ashley Richardson 7th, Ryan Faulkner 8th, Lily Briscoe running in 9th, Mega McDonald running in 10th place. Very good result for those two women, having a very solid run. Faulkner slowing down in the corner. Briscoe into the back of the 89, a hard hit, and that is a lot of damage on the 23's radiator as they come out of turn number 5. That could spell the end of the run for the Canadian. You see there, Ethan Collins gives a very hearty bump to the 66 as well. And that is spelling the end of the race for Lily Briscoe. She was having a fantastic run, and it comes down to essentially her body betraying her. The number 1, the Majesty, into the back of the 8 of Saul Pritchett. Caution's gonna be out. Look at the amount of damage. Ala Lucier tags the number 8. Caution is out. I was gonna go and speak about how everything that Lily Briscoe predicted, that was the issue she had with her ankle. The range of movement meant she was gonna end up burying that car in the rear end of the 89. But I was unable as Warren Majeski tags the number 8 into the tire barriers for the 2nd caution of the race. Corbin Dempsey, as we mentioned, back on the lead lap, and Majeski, he's going to be required to meet the officials because the engine on the number 1 gives up the ghost. So we have the restart very soon after lap 54 of 67 laps to go. Gustafson has a fantastic restart. He holds onto the lead. Look, Peller is going to try a bump and run. That fails. Thomas Tucker has a look on the inside. Side by side, coming downhill. Here comes Tucker on the preferred line, nose ahead for the number 9. The number 9 is going to take 2nd place side by side there for 5th place. Damage. Big crash on the 66. Caution is out. Caution is out. Battle for 4th place there happening. Becky Pellerin holds up against the 85, but they're going to come down to turn number 5. Hard braking point. Charlie Faulkner is going to try to make the move. Cannot make it happen. And Becky Pellerin is going to hold the 4th position as Thomas Tucker takes 2nd place on a failed attempt at a bump and run from Luke Pellerin. Let's see what happened to cause this yellow flag. Patricia Stage goes wide, swerves around in front of the 81. That's a hard hit. Corbin Dempsey did not take the foot off. He kept her foot in it and sent her into the wall. And he's going to have a little talk with the officials about that because temporary movement, as you see the field going to hit the stripe. And then see there, Ashley Richardson actually passed Joey Anderson for 6th place as well. And now we're going to have a 3-lap shootout to decide this race. Stan Gustafson leads the way. Thomas Tucker running in 2nd. Luke Pellerin running in 3rd. When the green flag drops, it's 3 laps to decide it all here. In front of your green flag, Tucker gets a poor restart. Poor restart side by side at the line. That puts Stan Gustafson almost whole field. Uh-oh. Under investigation from jumping the restart. This could change the story of this race and maybe of this championship as Gustafson opens a large gap. Luke Pellerin retakes 2nd place, and now we're looking at the scoring loop line. You see there, Gustafson restarts well. No jump on the scoring loop line, but they were very much side by side on the start-finish line. Jack Ashcroft and Caitlin Ashcroft atop the pit box of the 9 were livid, hitting the table, hitting the desks, angry about it. They are sure Luke Pellerin jumped this restart, but the official saying he did it, so it's still a battle for second place. Becky Pellerin right there, Alan Lucier, engine gone on the number 5, and he is done after having a fantastic run. He's gonna fall out of the race when he was running in 11th, surviving all of the onslaught, surviving the war that we've had so far here in Quebec. Charlie Faulkner battling with Becky Pellerin side by side, coming to 2 laps to go. Battle for 4th place. Ashley Richardson having a lookie there. If those two get together, Ashley Richardson gets another top 5 this season, but Faulkner has the inside, the preferred line, and he makes it look easy. He passes Becky Pellerin, and Becky's still not giving herself for defeated. She fights back, but she cannot properly battle the 85 and cannot make the pass. Corman MC running in 11th place. He's still going to have that talk with the officials, but right now the last car on the lead lap trying to chase down and pass Megan McDonald to get another top 10. A very worthwhile top 10 despite, again, the talk with the officials because he survived in the modified to find himself in 11th, tail end of the lead lap. But in the meantime, white flag is in the air for Stan Gustafsson. The Swede hanging on to the lead. Luke Pellerin trying to catch him. As you see there, they round out the Rue de Grand Prix into the Forge, and now they go down the Port Duplessis. Does he have enough? He cannot make it there on turn 3. Now we go to the fastest track section of the track, the Boulevard de Carmel, and Gustafsson has a big gap to Pellerin. He is almost home free. Gustafsson broke his leg last year during the PCC Cup Series race at Talladega. Missed essentially the second half of 2017 altogether. Came back with a new number, with a new car, with a new scheme, with a new attitude. Finished second in Oswego, has gotten several impressive results in his return to a part-time schedule in the Challenge Series. And now he's only 2 turns away from his second career win. The streak is right there. The Super Swede is gonna do it again. Stan Gustafsson wins in Trois-Rivières. Stan Gustafsson pulls off a magical win to find himself back in victory lane for the first time in 3 years. The last time he won in the North American Auto Club was his maiden win at Watkins Glen in 2015. Luke Pellerin has crossed the line in second. However, this is breaking news. Ashcroft Family Racing filed an appeal with the officials about that restart jump that was investigated and deemed that it was not a jump. They want officials to reconsider, look at footage, look at scoring loops, look at everything they possibly can look, and see if it's indeed not a jump. If it is reconsidered and the older Pellerin is penalized, he will be dropped to the tail end of the lead lap, meaning 12th place. That is basically a loss of 50 points, while Thomas Tucker would take second place, which is 5 more points in his account. But overall, we're gonna have to wait. This might be a few tense next few days. Charlie Faulkner was able to hold off Becky Pellerin, and Ashley Richardson holds 6th place. But put a tack on that because we got a series of post-race investigations to go through, and Richardson is on the list for her contact with Lee Schmidt. Joey Anderson and Ryan Faulkner lost a couple of positions they very much didn't want to fall from, so Anderson fell off the top 5. Faulkner fell from 7th to 8th, while Lucy Barton had a day, to say the least. And Megan McDonald has been the epitome of survivability because she kept that car unscathed, clean, unblemished, unaltered, and will take a very solid top 10 home for Ernest Lewis Racing. Now, looking at the standings, and bear in mind, unofficial results, we're still going to be pending investigations, possible penalties. Officials have said they would treat this race like a short track race due to the circumstances that we were on, but it's not that they told drivers to take the gloves off and just get into brawls with each other. So we're going to have to wait and see if we're going to have a few possible penalties. But as of now, Rebecca Pellerin still leads the championship. Luke's only 6 points behind. Had he beaten Stan Gustafsson, he would have been only a single point behind Becky. This is how close this championship has gotten this late in the running, and how well both Pellerins rallied up to take the top 2 positions in the championship, while Charlie Faulkner gained 10 points over Becky because he finished 1 position ahead of her. That position had a 5-point gap, and he led a lap during the pit cycle. 5 more points on his account. So he gained 10 points in total. Thomas Tucker is 66 points behind. Again, given that appeal, he could be 61 behind, but we're going to have to wait for the result of that. Ryan Faulkner lost quite a few points, but he's still within very much a striking range for the championship lead, while Corbin Dempsey, having suffered just about everything he could have suffered today, actually was able to stem some of the tide. He lost quite a few points, but by still holding up 11th place, he's ensured that at least that the loss isn't as big as it potentially could have been. However, the officials still want to talk to him about that contact with the 66. On a second watch, don't think it was intentional, but it was still very temporary. So the officials are going to have a look at that. Don't know what's going to happen. Likewise, Lucy Martin lost only 6 points in relation to Nashville, but, 3 strikes. We're going to have to see what the officials think of that. Riley McKee, the hometown kid, a very popular driver in Quebec and Canada at large, and he just went through it today. This is probably one of his worst showings at Trois-Rivières as the hometown boy. This track for him has been cursed. He has never been able to win in his hometown, and has never been able to get a very good result in his hometown, but today he went through it. He got beaten up. But he still finished 16th, which means he's still mathematically eligible for the title. Barely. Just barely. But if there's a will, there's a way. He's gonna need a miracle, but miracles have happened before. So, let's see what happens. In the meantime, Lee Schmidt and Mac Henley end up bowing out from the fight for the championship, as they are now both outside mathematical contention. Mac Henley due to a retirement, Lee Schmidt due to an earlier contact. Caitlin Richler, Tammy Barton, Ashley Richardson are still within 750 points in the championship in relation to Rebecca Pellerin. So all 3 are out of title contention, but all 3 could finish inside the top 10 in this championship. Keep an eye on these girls because they have been in a crescendo over the last few weeks. Boyd Abbott hanging on inside the top 15. A very impressive result in his sophomore year for Ashcroft Family Racing, so he hasn't gotten a sophomore slump. The only thing that has eluded him so far is winning, but he's been consistent. Likewise, Megan McDonald having a solid first full season in the 34 car, 15th place, with Scotty Overton, Kendra Brittany, and Peter Johnson, 3 of the 6 first-time winners in 2018, holding their own inside the top 20, but they are not wholly safe inside the top 20. If things turn in a way they do not expect, they could fall off of the first 10 positions. But in the meantime, Ruby Carson holds station in 19th, with Ronnie Samples rejoining the top 20, a consequence of Hibiki Murata's crash, taking her out of this race fairly early. In the owner standings, the battle for the provisional spots more or less stabilized in terms of which cars are eligible. As a matter of fact, the current provisionals are safer leaving Trois-Rivières than they were coming in. Brett Finley gained 90 points over Kate Taylor and almost 100 over Warren Majeski. The 33 and 30 having issues this weekend also meant that the gap for them becomes maybe too large to get inside the top 24 in this season. However, the way things are, they get a silver lining. Very much safe inside the top 32. Ethan Collins, despite what happened with him today, having finished a little bit further behind than they probably wanted, he ends up passing the HQS So2, which is still about 50 points clear off the Ernest Lewis 55, and the Ernest Lewis 55 isn't necessarily very safe because the 63 and 200 will need to hustle a little bit, but they could finish ahead of the 55. If they are in pace to finish ahead of the 55, then the O2 may not be that out of whack. They might still be able to steal a top 32 spot. However, that window is progressively closing. And speaking of windows that are closing, In the fight for the Rookie Challenge, we now have the red bars appearing, eliminating quite a few names from contention, and look at that. There are only 4 mathematical contenders left in this battle for the Rookie of the Year title. Kendra Brittany finished 36, and that has essentially closed the window on her. She can no longer mathematically catch Tammy Barton. Even if Tammy Barton finished Salem, Houston, the Talladega Duo, and the Try Hard 500 in last, she would still not lose Rookie of the Year to Kendra Brittany. However, Brenda Masner and Dirk Williamson, they can still mathematically win the Rookie Challenge. However, again, it's solely on the back of having just the minimum of 5 races, only the 5 starts that you were required to contest the Rookie Challenge. Masner, we expect to be back for Talladega. Likewise, Dirk Williamson, if I'm not mistaken, he will start at Houston, and he was entered in a 3rd Zactec car for Talladega. So mathematically for those 2, it is possible. Realistically though, a bit unlikely. However, her main tango partner in all of this is Joey Anderson, the other full-time rookie mathematically eligible. Also, just before I do speak about Joey Anderson, you do see that Dirk Williamson is marked as 11th. He is indeed 11th place. This is not a mistake on the graphics. 10th place is Saul Pritchett, but he is also mathematically ineligible to win the Rookie Challenge. So let's digress to her main tango partner in all this situation, that is Joey Anderson. He is fairly far behind, as you see in the numbers, but he can still mathematically catch her. But, and this is a big but, the window is narrow, and it is as narrow as it has been the whole year. He could be eliminated from the Rookie Challenge already on the next race if Tammy finishes 16th, regardless of where Anderson finishes. If Anderson gets his 2nd win of the year and Barton finishes 16th, it's over. He's done. He's out. And even if Tammy, let's say she finishes last, then Anderson has to finish 15th to stay alive in the Rookie Challenge. And for him, it will be hard to pull that off because the next race is going to be a war. If you think this was a battle, we're going to see a war. Because we're going on a 3-week break, and then the North American Auto Club is going to the high banks of Salem, Indiana for the Car Klutz 200, the final short track race of 2018. See you there.